there's a path here to have like a Atari home console that has Amiga developers. You get Bitmap Brothers and the Oliver Twins.
Well, except that they're all making Sega Genesis games because it's a 68,000 CPU.
Yeah, but I think...
And that's why like most Western Genesis games are just Amiga games.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like there might have been something possible there, but probably not. Regardless of any speculation, Atari was not in the position to make it successful.
Well, they also didn't have, the budget to just force it through. Unlike maybe like 3DO. 3DO had a ton of money to force it to happen, and it still didn't work.
3DO is especially interesting because it never worked anywhere, but they got a lot of Japanese games.
Yeah, I don't get it.
Still a big-time mystery to me. Tim's here.
Yeah.
We were talking about the Lynx.
Yeah, I came in here and first thing I heard was, the 3DO is interesting because, and I'm like... God darn it, man.
Yeah, I saw that happen in real time, and that was very exciting to me. Buy me Bone Storm or go to hell. This is episode 341 of Insert Credit, a show which begins with me explaining how the show works every episode, because our editor has requested I always mention the horrible buzzer. I'm Alex Jaffe, and the first time I stayed up all night playing video games was shortly after I got a backlit Game Boy Advance SP.
You people with your memories. My name is Frank Cifaldi, and the first time I stayed up all night playing video games. So we're defining all night as seeing the sun, maybe.
Yes.
Right? Like, okay. The first one I can remember is the original Metal Gear Solid. But there's no way that's true because once I sort of had a computer and a Sega in my bedroom at my mom's house, surely I pulled some all-nighters, especially during summer break. I just can't remember those. So let's just go with Metal Gear Solid. The Twin Snakes on GameCube.
Ooh, spicy.
Yeah, that is my first foray.
One thing we talk about a lot on this show is how Metal Gear Solid games are kind of built for you to watch the ending credits as the sun goes up. So that's
I think all three of them. I think there's more after 3, I'm not sure. But all 3 Metal Gear Solids, I did that too.
I'm Tim Rogers, and the first time I played a video game until the sunrise was the original Legend of Zelda.
Oh.
I played the whole thing in one night.
Were your parents out of the house or something?
No. I just, my parents don't care about stuff.
I want to pipe in here and say that I played Zelda 1 for the first time as an adult, maybe 5 years ago. And it is a good, just if you've never played it, it's actually a pretty good game. And it's a good one-sitting game. Like you can actually get through it in one sitting for the first time and either solve the puzzles or we all just collectively somehow know to burn that one particular bush. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I mean, back in, the 1989, it was 89 to 88, it was a little bit harder. Not having a couple decades of having played a bunch of video games.
Right, but like video game literacy has taught us all how to play through Zelda 1 without a guide. So, and it's kind of cool.
Everybody should check that one out. I think it's a good one.
Yeah.
It's good. I mean, it's not mind-blowing now as it was, when I first played it. It's not nearly as mind-blowing as it was 35 years ago. But I just want to point out real quick, I said 1988. That's when I played it. I don't need someone to tell me when it came out. I know when it came out. Thank you.
Also, anyone saying that doesn't understand the concept of the chip shortage as well. So,
and just the concept of being an NES gamer in the year in the 80s as a 9-year-old.
We didn't have magazines yet. It wasn't even Nintendo Power yet. We didn't know what was up.
This is something I feel doesn't get discussed enough. Is we didn't even know when the Nintendo came out.
Yeah. Like
9-year-olds in my neighborhood, we had no idea this thing was cool. It was in some toy stores, but it wasn't the zeitgeist yet. So interesting.
I guess I'm Brandon Sheffield, and I have been trying the whole time to remember if I'm sure I must have done this, but I can't think of a time.
Like
Whoa.
ever? You can't think of any.
Check out Mr. Sleep Hygiene over here.
I can't think of any time that I did it. I must have, but none come to mind.
How's that circadian rhythm going for you?
I think it's more that I can't remember things. I must have done it, but I don't think I did it with something special enough that it was like intentional. I was probably just up if I did that.
What was the most recent game you played?
I remember that when I was in Rome, I was playing a lot of, this is very recent, Breath of the Wild. And at one point I got back from an evening at like 2 a.m. and kept playing Breath of the Wild, and then the sun started coming up. So that's the most recent.
Could be the first, for all we know.
It's possible. It's possible. Because I'm pretty sure in high school I never did that because I had to get up so early for school. And during the summer, I don't know why I wouldn't have, but I don't think I did.
No, that's where I am too. Like, it's like, I feel like probably something like Grim Fandango on my computer or something, but I don't remember.
I was trying to think, like, did I do Final Fantasy VII? Did I do Panzer Dragoon Saga? I don't think I did. I don't know. Just can't call it to mind. So anyway, that's what I got.
All right. Well, you know what? I'm not going to tell you the questions I wrote because Brandon won last week's episode.
That's right.
So he has to give us a question that he either wrote or has to come up with right now.
I did. First, I just wanted to mention something else about the magazine issue from last week.
Did you ask several of your high school friends who we've never met to take a look at it, and they all said they loved it?
There's a lot of people on the message board saying they actually think that cover's really cool.
That's not what I was going to talk about.
Are those people Brandon's high school friends who he
they're not.
he invited to
Wait,
come
there's
talk
a forum
about?
thread defending this cover?
No, it's not. I mean, it's not about the cover. It's about the episode. But people do like. But that's not what I was going to talk about. I was going to
I'm hearing people love this cover.
Piece of information.
I love it.
That I wanted to include about this era of covers, but which I couldn't remember at the time because I couldn't remember the guy's name, is that it's specifically based on the design style of David Carson, who did the Ray Gun magazine covers, which was like a grunge alternative magazine, and the art director was like a protege of his, and this was his chance to do that style. And it's just a critical piece of information that I wanted to say. And
critical's a word for it. Yeah, I think that.
So anyway, my question for you all is, we've sort of danced around this kind of question before, but I'm curious about times when a game felt like it was made for you in kind of a specific way. So as an example for me, the game Paradise Killer, which a friend of the show, Chopimon, was the director on, is like, it had a bunch of vaporwavy stuff. It had a bunch of weird writing. It had a certain kind of a soundtrack. The main mechanic was jumping and picking things up. It was all about exploration. And it felt like it was kind of targeting me, but it's made by people who read insert credit starting in 2001. So wasn't targeting me, but it wasn't not either. Like there was influence there. So I'm with that level of specificity, I'm wondering if because I feel like, Frank, for you, like the new Monkey Island was made for.
That's actually a really good answer that I'm just going to go ahead and take. Yeah, I agree with that. Well, I mean, there's others like me. It's not specifically me, but it is, I think, a small demographic, right? Like, so what Brandon is alluding to is that Return to Monkey Island is a game that seems to have been made for people in my exact situation, which is I played the first two games in the series, the two that were directed by Ron Gilbert, and they influenced me, and I at least vaguely thought about them for like 20 years, right? Wondering what a third one might have been. And so this is a game made for people who are in that situation, who wonder what might a third one have been, and what does it mean to have been thinking about what a third one might have been. and the like the hopes that come along with that, and the aspirations and the pressure that comes along with having to make a third one of those. Yeah, that is a really good example, and that's my answer. Thanks, Brandon, for answering your question for me.
First of all, I mean, we've had similar questions to this before, but
Yeah.
there is a video game that is a game I think is really good, just bursting full of stuff that somebody I was working with professionally stole from me that I had prototyped and made on my own, and they stole tons of it and put it into a video game brazenly. And I know a lot of people I don't know anybody whose favorite game is that game, though I do know a lot of people who say they like that game. And I'm one of the people who says they like that game, which is very a complicated feeling to have as the person who earned nothing materially from it. I mean, neither did the other guy. Now, come to think of it, the other guy didn't really make too much from it either. But he gave it a shot, and it was at a point where somebody I know mentioned me to him or mentioned something to him, and he said, "Did he ask you to ask that?" And mentioned me by name, which is both vindicating and sad. So that's a case of a video game that was made specifically for me in a particular way. And again, the fact that I still kind of like it is the hardest part to swallow for me personally. So I'm not going to say what the game is.
I wish I knew what it was. I'm very curious about that.
Yeah, it's a tricky one.
I've got an answer for this. I would like to thank, first of all, Tim Rogers, and second of all, Esper Quinn, because Tim is the one who made me make a master list of every question I've ever asked on Insert Credit.
Oh, yeah.
And Esper's the one who keeps elaborate show notes of every game we talk about on this show.
Yeah.
So back in 2022, March 14th,
Yes.
episode 227, Doorbustin' Gun-Totin' Fleaman, I asked, when do you feel like a game was made specifically for you?
Yeah.
And we mentioned 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 games. I'm going to name the games and we're going to match them to the people who said them.
Okay.
Let's go.
We said A Short Hike,
Oh, that's me.
That was Frank. I like that one.
Celeste,
That's me and or Tim.
Yeah, it might have been both.
I agreed. It felt made for me as well.
Baba Is You,
Baba's not me.
That's you, Jaffe. Or was there a guest?
Baba's not me, man. Baba's not. I like Baba.
I like it too, but I don't think it was made for me.
Kingdom 2 Crowns.
Kingdom, 2 Crowns.
I don't even know what that is.
Who else was on this episode?
Yeah.
We had no guests. Maybe they were brought up in a different
I
context.
think they might have just been
What
mentioned.
do any of us know what that game is?
I know what it is. Yeah, it's a raw fury game where you kind of go back and forth and you do something. I've never played it though.
Same. So that's
Sim thing.
Doesn't mean that 2 years ago you didn't feel like it was made for you, though.
All right.
Yeah, that would be surprising.
We got Backbone, Cloud Gardens, and Crosscode.
Okay.
I don't know.
Okay.
Not me, not me, not me.
No.
Wander Song, Paradise Killer, and Valis.
Well, we know who Paradise Killer and Valis are. Those are me.
Right.
Yeah.
Lupin the Third, Pandora no Isan,
All right.
Okay.
Attack of the Friday Monsters,
Oh, I might have said me.
and Cheese Catastrophe starring Speedy Gonzalez.
God,
Yeah.
that's a hot tape, dude.
That's probably Frank.
I think a lot of these just came up somehow.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
Frank, you got to rate the Sunsoft Looney Tunes games for SNES. Let's go.
Oh my God.
Oh my God, yes. That's our next topic.
No.
No.
All right, Frank, I'm going to make you prepare that for a future episode because I know how much you love homework.
I actually have a lot of
I actually like the Sunsoft Looney Tunes games.
we have a lot of behind the scenes material about those games.
Sunsoft SNES Looney Tunes. There's not that many of them. You can chill with them all on a weekend. Everybody listening, check them out. Right.
So you might actually enjoy that. So
Load them up on your Mister, Frank.
Well, what I was going to say is the behind the scenes stuff we have is from Rita Zimmerer, who was like VP of, I don't know, brand marketing, something like that. But as far as I can tell, she was the one who like charged forward with the Looney Tunes license, and she was the one who got the contract and everything and really believed in it. So we have a lot of internal documentation about that and like design docs about the games and things like
God,
that.
Tasmania for SNES, dude.
You want to read the design doc? I have it.
Yeah, I actually, I would smoke that. I'd pack a bowl and lose control.
So I have played about 1.3 of the like 10 of these. So I don't know that I'm a ranker.
Pop them in the mister. Give them 10 minutes. I'll do it if you'll do it.
You know, people have been asking us to do another ranking episode, and I think it would be pretty funny if this was the one we did.
Sunsoft Looney Tunes games?
Yes.
See,
I'm good with that. Let's go.
I don't want to do any work for free here, but that's the exact scope of list episode I would goddarn recommend if you guys want to get your goddarn Patreon to 5 digits. You got to do one like that every couple of weeks. That's the exact narrowness of scope.
Yeah, but it also gives me some gross feelings because there's
fun.
A lot of like retro game collector YouTubes that, I mean, there's probably literally that video on like 4 of them.
Oh, yeah.
The difference is it's us.
Yeah, there's a difference. The difference is it's in audio format. Let's say, here we go. Best, hold on, SNES Looney Tunes games ranked. Popping this into YouTube. I played all 430 Looney Tunes games. 2 hours, 5 minutes, 23 seconds, 49,000 views. Yeah, you can beat that. That's easy. It's not, rank 'em, Sunsoft, Super Nintendo, 5.6 reviews. 5.6K reviews. So, you know, it's not necessarily a hot topic.
Okay.
Looking at this list, which one of them do you think is the best?
Me?
Is it Tasmania?
No. Tasmania is truly awful.
Sorry. Tasmania is like a visual trick someone prototyped and like made into a game for some reason.
Yeah, it's a visual trick with just no plot, basically, I would say.
I like that the last one, which they never finished, is a sequel to the first one they did.
Mm-hmm. Bugs Bunny Rabbit Rampage, dude.
All right, let's go on to our next topic then. What are the most common lies told in the video game industry?
In the industry?
Yeah.
I think they would be related to job security right now.
That's a sad one, if you want to make this a sad episode.
Well, you're saying in the industry.
Well, who's telling that lie, though? No one's like, this is a great place to work. I don't, like, who says that?
Oh, have you ever looked at like a company recruiter page?
Oh, sure. Okay. I guess some people listen to that.
That couple that recently started 4 companies and then closed them all, they were very vocal about how worker focused they are and how amazing everything was going to be, and then they ghosted everybody and
they just started slapping the table and crying, "Give me candy" or whatever.
Pretty much.
That was like real, definitely goes to Burning Man behavior out of those 2 people. No offense to them. Wait, I mean, go ahead and give offense to them. It's fine. One of my favorite video game industry lies of all time is just the 2-word phrase that occurs: "No plans." We have no plans to do that.
That's a good one.
I like that a lot more than no comment, because no comment can sometimes be a comment, but usually it's not, right? Usually no comment successfully accomplishes the goal of not commenting, but we have no plans to make a new Zelda. You know, like that's always really, really funny.
Yeah.
Because there's some legal way they can defend that even in the presence of plans. Oh, we didn't have plans to make a new Zelda, they say later. We had a concrete project management blueprint. That's different from a plan to think about it or whatever. Like you'll hear them say no plans all the time. I always think that's a fun little frivolous one.
Related to that, I didn't like, but it was an interesting flavor of lie, not a bald-faced lies. It's a weird phrase. But when a journalist in the, let's say, mid-2000s would ask, would you like to make a new Ninja Gaiden?
Yeah, we've talked about this on the show before. That used to just be like the headline generator.
Yes.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah. You would ask if they were interested. They would say yes, and then new Ninja Gaiden coming.
If Konami gave you infinite money and said you could make whatever Castlevania you want, would you do it? And it's like, okay.
Yeah, and then it becomes new Castlevania confirmed.
David Cage would love to make a Castlevania.
Yeah.
Yeah. My favorite entertainment article is actor interested in work. Where they say, yeah, I'll play this very popular character if they asked me.
Would you be Spider-Man? Okay.
Yeah, I noticed that's all over entertainment stuff even now. You know, every other post is a deadline or discussing film or whatever. Scarlett Johansson says she would play Black Widow again or whatever.
Right.
And then every reply is, I don't want her to play Black Widow anymore. She died. Oh, spoilers. I'm sorry. Black Widow dies in Avengers Endgame. I didn't want to spoil that for anybody. She dies.
Oh, no.
Literally falls off a cliff and dies.
I mean, like, I thought it was really tasteless the way they did the Wile E. Coyote, like, poof when she landed.
She held up a little sign.
Yeah, and there was that Scarlett Johansson shaped outline on the ground.
Just holding an Acme box.
Death Valley Rally, dude. Death Valley Rally.
She pops out making an accordion noise. Fwah, 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 fwah.
Death Valley Rally is the name of the Sunsoft Wile E. Coyote and Roadrunner game for anyone not paying attention.
By Icom Simulations, whose archives we also have. So give us money, man, so I could digitize this stuff and you could scrutinize it.
You can't even just call it the Roadrunner game. You've got to call it Death Valley Rally, starring Wile E. Coyote and the Roadrunner by Sunsoft for the Super Nintendo.
Well, yeah, you made up the second and third halves of that. You don't have.
Yeah, I know.
Another lie that had to get solved due to a lot of criticism was the time, again, probably around 2005 to 2007, when pre-rendered cinema would be presented as actual gameplay. When they meant, we feel like we could make this.
Oh, the moving bull shot. Right.
Yeah. Killzone was a big one for that. Killzone 3, I think.
It was totally rampant.
Yeah.
I mean, that actually still kind of has its tentacles in game discourse now, where it's like right now, I've played all the recent Assassin's Creed games, and when you're playing them, they all look pretty good, right? They know what they're doing with the graphics over there. It's fine if they want to release a trailer that's just cinematic cutscene story stuff. It's perfectly fine. I know that their Ninja Samurai Assassin's Creed is going to look fine, but that doesn't stop 9,000 YouTubers and 42,000 Twitter bots from commenting, "Oh, show us gameplay." No one believes that the game's going to look like this. It's like they're not trying to tell you the game's going to look like this. They're showing you the cutscenes because cutscenes can be fun, They can be nice.
Yeah, now they showed not actual gameplay footage at the bottom, so you kind of know and stuff.
Yeah.
But
they got too yelled at, which is nice, I guess.
Funny moment. I was watching Resident Evil Degeneration, which is the first of the Resident Evil full-length CG movies.
Oh yeah.
And there was it's very silly, but there was a moment where we were really close to the protagonists, and then the camera kind of zoomed back out to this certain level, and I was like, "Ooh, I'm about to get control." It just like had this instinctive feel, because they did the exact zoom back out to where it gets into like third person. I was like, "Ooh, got to pick up my controller," and
your hands like twitch.
Yeah, because I was watching it on my PS5, so it's like I had my headphones plugged into my controller. Gotta pick this up. Gotta shoot the zombies.
Today we're bringing back an old segment, video game mixtape. What are the best video game tracks to listen to after a breakup?
I gotta remember music.
I mean, it depends on, like, are you trying to soothe yourself with sad songs?
Yeah, it's also the vibe of the breakup. Yeah, are you happy? Sometimes you're happy.
Right, like the Earthbound Shop song, which, we previously established is not for intimacy. This is not an intimacy time in your life, so it might be time to crank it.
Yeah, finally, I'm free to listen to the Earthbound Shop theme.
I am not having constant intercourse anymore. I'm finally free.
Yeah, nobody's going to be like, "Can you please turn that off?" Nobody's going to say that. You put the 10-hour.
Maybe that's the reason you broke up. You wouldn't stop playing the shop theme.
And then you can go buy a banjo and start playing along.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I would recommend you just put on, just loop the Lords of Thunder title screen music.
Yeah, that's a pretty good one. That's a good one.
Oh man, that's actually, I think I would smoke that because it's just heavy metal riffing. It's like at the tempo of a bench press, So there's that.
Yeah, pump yourself back up. I think that's a good one.
This is just like you're asking this question of a guy who's 45 years old here. My answers are all gonna be like, I don't know, cool ones, I guess. It's basically the point of my life I'm at. Like, what tracks should we put on there? Cool ones?
Yeah, cheer them up.
Like ones that are real cool, I guess. I don't know.
Chemical Plant Zone? Why not?
Yeah, chemical plants.
Oh, yeah.
I'm saying ones that I would be listening to whilst driving a Mazda Miata at about 88 miles per hour down like a highway in Fishers, Indiana, basically, is what we're talking about. So chemical plant zone.
Yeah, after my breakup, I'd be going to the chemical plant zone, if you know what I mean.
88 miles an hour, not because that's law breaking or anything, even though it is 88 miles an hour, because that's basically all you can do in that particular variety of sports car, I think. What's the new Miata called? It's like the what do they call it now?
It's MX-8 or something.
MX-8, MX-5, MX something.
They got several MXs, but yeah.
They should just call it the Miata.
It actually feels nice. They should call it a Miata, but
I mean, I bet it does. They make nice cars. I like Mazdas.
Yeah, they should call it a Miata, though. I agree. Just the whole Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 4 soundtrack for Super Nintendo.
Oh, yeah.
I think you want to start with Bury My Shell at Wounded Knee, though.
Sure.
Because that beat is really good. You
Bury
don't wanna
My
play
Shell
them
at
in-
Wounded Knee.
Yeah, only an idiot would play them in order, right? You want to start with a doom to doom to doom to doom to doom to doom, you know?
Yeah.
That's
Especially
what you
after a
want,
breakup.
because that's about the tempo of like a high performance bench press, right? I'm talking about the goal here is you want to press bench, and you want to put pedal to the metal on a Mazda Miata.
Yeah.
And avoid intercourse.
You want to
Yeah.
make sure you get a good deal on the Miata as well. That's another thing. What music? And then you listen to the Earthbound music whilst haggling to get the deal on the Miata. I would say
Sunset Heroes for Genesis version of Sunset Heroes in
Sunset Riders.
Sunset Riders. Wow, my brain. Yeah.
Interesting mashup that you just created, though.
Yeah.
Sunset Heroes. Yeah. Guardian Heroes and Sunset Riders. I'd
Yeah.
play it.
Or Gunstar Heroes, if
Yeah.
you want to go that route.
Or Sonic Heroes.
No, we don't go that route around here. No, that's too many routes. I think if the characters in Gunstar Heroes had been cowboys, Treasure would have become a beloved developer.
I don't know that I've put on any video game soundtracks in my car other than some Sonic tunes, to be honest. That's my driving music.
There are very few video game soundtracks that I have listened to a track from in my car.
Ever?
Period. Yeah.
Because I purchased the vinyl record, I received for free as a bonus the Sonic CD soundtrack on Bandcamp. So I have that on my phone. So sometimes
The Tallarico one?
he didn't work on Sonic CD, but no, it
He ghost
is
wrote it, actually. That's the one he didn't take credit for.
it is the Western one.
Yeah, it's a Michael Jackson situation.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I like that Western one though. It's not bad. It's very ponytail vibes.
I think that
but,
is the consensus these days, right? Is that
Yeah.
they're both
Yeah.
fine.
yeah, they're both good
Yeah.
in their own way. But I
It
really
got viciously made fun of. Like, first of all, when you listen to them both now, it's like, wait, what was the problem?
exactly
Like, it's not like they're
Right.
drastically different types of music or anything.
they're not wildly different.
Yeah, and it's like, there's an urban myth that's like Sega of America heard the music and said, absolutely not. We must get new music. Was it just they knew a guy who wanted to make more music? Was that it? And was like, it convinced them? Like, what's the story there?
My understanding was that they wanted something that was more like American contemporary in kind of like a easy listening light jazz way, which was just somebody's weird decision. I don't it certainly wasn't necessary. I don't know why they
It's a
did it.
curious turn of events.
With that, I think we should go into our break.
Oh, and then just the whole Outrun. Put the whole Outrun soundtrack on there
Oh,
as
yeah.
well. Just tack that on the bottom, I would
Yeah.
say.
You once recommended the Yoshi's Galaxy theme from Super Mario Galaxy for driving around.
Yeah, that's true. Bum, 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 bum.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
It's a good tune. Yoshi Star Galaxy? It's really good.
Welcome back to Insert Credit. Let's go into the dirt bag, shall we? This week's question, like every week's question, is sent in by someone who subscribed to patreon.com/insertcredit, where for mere dollars a month, they get access to the form that lets them do this. They get monthly bonus
Is
episodes.
this the same someone every time? Or
Yeah, we only have one subscriber, but they keep raising or lowering their one donation based on how much they enjoy our performance.
I see.
And they change their screen name every time they submit a question.
Wow.
So
that's dedication.
Our only patron, Magnanimous, says, if you could double any number in video games, what would it be?
64.
I don't think that's the spirit in which the question was
I
meant.
actually honestly think we're close to the right answer here. First of all, magnanimous is one of my favorite words, but there's still a chance that a person using that as a nickname could be a freak in a not good way. So I'm not going to say that the name is good enough. I don't know what that means. I think we're close to the correct answer. You said 64.
Yeah.
No, what I want 128, man. Why can't we double? Why did we ever get 256-bit consoles?
It's true.
We had a 128-bit era, right?
We're still in it. I think we're still in it.
Yeah, well, I'm talking about I want to see 256.
Do we need more bits?
That's the number.
What is this question? I don't actually understand the question.
Well, it would be more like Working Designs wanted to make all the video games they localized more difficult for some reason, and so they doubled the encounter
Not
rate.
always.
And not always. Sometimes they did.
Sometimes
Quite
they made it easier. They made the final boss of Alundra take 50% as many hits to kill.
Oh, that's
I know
good.
that off the top of my head.
I guess they learned their lesson because, like, Vey or Exile Wicked Phenomenon, they were using the old doubler.
So
Not
is the
double
question,
exactly,
which
but-
games would we make significantly harder or easier by tweaking
what-
values?
I think
Yeah,
something
what
like
value would you double from a video game?
So
Okay,
first of all, you can half an enemy's HP by doubling the player's damage, right? So you can use doubling for, it's all relative. But anyway,
I enjoy that in older JRPGs. So M2 did that to the original Phantasy Star to great effect. It
makes it highly playable.
doubles hit. Well, and it halves whatever. Like you kill the enemies twice as fast and earn twice as much, and encounter them half as much. But I guess we can't do that.
And it makes the game twice as fun, IMO. Not twice as fun. 1.5.
I think it makes the game 4 times as fun. It doubles the doubling.
So
It doubles your fun.
I remember that.
there's a lot of patches for games to do that, and I enjoy that. I enjoy like any game that's specifically random encounters that are at least a little bit grindy often become like modern JRPGs just by doubling that.
Yeah.
And having the encounter rate. That part's important.
There's a PC Engine Ys clone called Makai something or other Shada, and it's not very good. And part of the reason is that it's too difficult to kill anything. And as we've discussed before, the Ys games are kind of fun to grind in because you're just like moving a guy around. It's very Vampire Survivors.
You're smoking, yeah. You're smoking a cigarette and playing with one hand, yeah.
And so in that game, if I could double my attack rate, I think even attack rate or attack strength, if I could just double that, I think the rest of the game would be fine. I think it would be a fun Ys clone instead of a really obnoxious one.
I mean, there's a lot of games. There are many, many, many old games where if you just doubled the player's movement speed, you'd have a much more tolerable. But then they caught on to that at some point.
Well, Street Fighter 2 Turbo is when I think they caught on to
Yeah,
when they doubled the speed and went, wait, this is fun.
I've been playing a lot of nasty old video games lately, the kinds we would never want to talk about on here. Let me tell you, I'm looking for something, right? And let me tell you, the problem with being a guy whose job is playing video games for the purpose of looking for something, a lot of those games are just too slow, dude. It's like just crazy too slow. And then in the rare one, you're way too fast. Every once in a while, there's a game where your guy's way too fast.
Yeah, just rocket speed RPG guy. Sometimes that confuses me.
You just like zip right by a door back and forth, and you're trying to go in the goddamn door. But no, the guys that are too slow in action games and arcade games, what are they doing?
Yeah, guys that just once you get into your fighting stance, you can only do like a little stutter shuffle.
Mm-hmm.
Those are quite troublesome. Quite troublesome.
It's just too much.
A lot of the time, doubling the money gets you less fun. Sometimes, I'd say about half the time.
I don't want to tip my hand too much, but also in a lot of these old games, doubling the range of the melee attack, dude.
Mm-hmm.
Just flat out double it.
Yeah.
If you, Magnanimous, speak to us through a crystal ball from the 1980s, from about the year 84, 85, and you're making a side-scrolling 2D action game with a jump, double the range of the melee attack weapon.
I mean, I think, especially if we're talking about older games, I think I've fallen into this craving of cruising through this kind of game as opposed to being challenged. By it. I want to be a tourist.
You ever turn the cheats on Mr. Frank?
Sure.
It's real good, isn't it?
Yeah.
You really feel like you played that game by the time you're done with it. You're like, I actually played that.
Yep.
I had unlimited lives and unlimited continues, but I actually played that game. It's nice.
What do you look for while the credits are rolling in a video game?
Oh, good joke names.
My name?
Production babies. I'm always one for the production babies.
It doesn't matter what the game is. If it's a modern game, I do like when special thanks comes up. I just go,
I might be in there. I could be in there. And sometimes I am.
I've never met anyone in the credits, but maybe they like me.
I can tell you one game I'm not in the special thanks for.
Asmania on the Super Nintendo.
But then when it says, and you the player, do you go, that's me?
No, I've always felt patronized by that.
Me too.
Yeah, same.
But also, lately, I do love seeing the phrase production babies, because then it just recalls to me that I can call my dogs my production babies. Come on over, production babies. And they come on over, and then I get like a good 24 hours out of that. After beating a modern AAA video game, I get it like a good, viscerally thrilling 24-hour period where I say, production babies, squat up. And they come running because they just respond to any excited voice. And they just come running over, and I think of them as my production babies. So,
despite being a rather small team here, we actually have 2 production babies for Demon School.
No.
And
Wow.
It was suggested that we refer to them as Demon Spawn. I don't know if I like that though.
It's a little Spawn is a little gross.
It feels a little cutesy.
Have you seen the goddarn human race though?
Yeah, it's fair.
Like, have you reckoned with it as of late? It's kind of fair to call everybody a goddarn demon, gremlin, goblin, hobgoblin, hobgreblin.
Just feels cutesy, I guess, is why I'm not worried about offending humanity.
Yeah, God forbid a baby be cutesy.
Call them production babies and include like a pixel art caricature of each of them, I think would be the thing to do.
Yeah. And they look exactly the same because they're babies.
Yeah, well,
just palish.
Attention to detail.
Yeah.
Babies can look different. I'm not a babies guy myself. You never see me walking around slinging a couple babies, right?
Yeah.
You don't ever see me bouncing baby boys on my shoulders, right? You've never seen that when I'm strutting about town. But I can recognize babies as different sometimes. I go, oh, that's not the same baby as that other person's baby.
It's true. They do have sometimes a distinctiveness.
For example, I have one friend has a boy baby, and then I have one friend has a girl baby.
One of them's Phil Collins, and one of them is Teddy Roosevelt.
I was just going to say one of them has a bow in their hair.
Yeah, Miss Pac-Man style.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't understand your joke, Frank.
You don't think babies look like Phil Collins?
Oh,
They do,
okay.
yeah.
I see.
I would have gone with Winston Churchill.
I thought that
too.
those 2 particular guys had some
No.
more specific
A
relationship.
Richard Nixon baby. You ever see one of those?
No.
Oh, I've seen a Nixon baby.
Yeah. There's
Oh my
Nixon.
God.
A
No.
jowly baby. Yeah.
Yeah. Nixon babies could be a TV show.
Good.
When your room looks kind of weird.
I'm
Yeah.
not a crook.
When your room looks kind of weird and you are not a crook.
Yeah.
Just close your eyes and make believe, baby, it's time to cook.
Yeah.
There you go. Is that relatable for the kids? What I look for in the credits, production. Do you look for production dogs as well?
Yeah, I've seen
Can you
production
imagine
pets.
being a person on a AAA video game studio where one of your colleagues has a baby human child born unto them, and they get it in the credits, and you have the goddarn gall, the guts, and the wherewithal to say, "What about my dog? I love my dogs." But I would not crowbar my goddarn beautiful beasts into the credits of a AAA video game. I promise you that.
I don't know, man. Like I was thinking about this question, and I was thinking about how I rolled credits on that Prince of Persia Metroidvania earlier this year, and how those credits were
They got pro dogs in there?
about 10 minutes long, and
Yeah.
was just like anyone who'd ever like heard the word Prince in the last 3 years.
Oh, that rules.
Kind of related to that, I do look for like who was the core of the people that made this?
Right.
And I sort of look at how many were there, and I find myself impressed when the number is smaller.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I look for that as well. But then I look for the opposite as well, which is like, I mean, when, for example, going back to Prince of Persia, like, it just hits a point where, like 7 minutes in, where it's just like, what did any of these people actually do?
Mhm.
You know, it's just like the company that maybe was, I don't know, like hired to write a social media strategy document once, you know, and it's like everyone who's ever worked at that company is in the credits, even if they didn't work on this document.
I also really don't like when a company will. I understand that they're trying to be egalitarian or something by doing this, but when they just dump all the names in a row and don't say what anybody did, I understand it's supposed to be respectful, but it feels disrespectful to me because
A little quirky, yeah.
they get a credit, but they don't get their credit. They don't get.
Like my credit on iDarb is just equal with, I don't know.
It's just a name and a
Like people who
slop in it.
tweeted about it or something. Yeah.
I will say, this is my final word on the matter. I have a friend that I met while working at Sony, still keep in contact with this person today. And they were very proud in a very funny way of having their name in the credits of every game that has been released on any Sony platform since they started working there. And I do look for this person's name every time I finish a game published on a Sony platform. Even a multi-platform game that comes out on PC, their name is always in there. And I know exactly what they did all day, every day, 20 years ago. It's just very funny to imagine them continuing to do that now and getting credited on basically every video game ever made. It's very funny to me.
All right. A lot of these questions, I'm not too sure how they'll go when I write them. And a lot of them might kind of change on the fly if I chicken out at the last minute and go to my bank. But this one, this next question I'm going to ask, I have been really excited to ask it since I came up with it. I was like, okay, this one's going to be a real banger. So I'm building it up as much as possible because I'm really excited to see what you guys are going to say about this one, because I've tested it out and gotten a bunch of different answers. Here's my question. Here it goes. The greatest question ever asked on Insert Credit. What is the memorizing all the state capitals of video games?
Oh.
I like that question.
Well, I haven't done it.
Same.
You don't know all the state capitals?
Heck no. I don't know all the states.
I don't think I could name all the states.
This ties in so closely to something we were talking about before the show. It's kind of remarkable that Brandon's saying he doesn't know the names of the state capitals.
If you asked me to name all 50 states, I don't think I would succeed.
Yeah, agreed. I wouldn't either.
I think you could do it.
Do you?
That's the god darn I don't even own a television of being an American, I would say, right?
Yeah.
I can't even name all the states.
Yeah, well, it's
I don't
not,
agree. Like it's not on purpose. It's just like it doesn't come up. Like I would have to put effort into memorizing something that provides no value to my life.
Yeah, I don't think I'm going to visit them.
I've always had that filter.
I've been to all of them. I don't know what else to say about that. But Jaffe, do you know the names of all the states? Can you name them all? Alphabetical order, you know the song?
I can name all the states. I don't think I could name all the state capitals.
Oh, okay. That's interesting. I thought that was like a normal thing to learn in school.
I think it is.
I probably knew it at one point.
Yeah.
I don't think I even knew it then because I got a D in geography. It's the only D I ever got in my life.
When you come to think of it, I don't think I did either.
It was my worst subject because I didn't care. I know more about international geography than I do U.S.
About
geography.
United States of American geography.
It's something I keep meaning to do. And one day I'll just sit down and do it.
I just
Why?
don't care.
What do you get
learning
out of
all
it?
the state capitals.
I feel like it's a good thing to know.
For what?
I know all the state
For
mottos
Jeopardy?
too. You know why I know all the state mottos? Because I know David Letterman does.
Yeah.
Because anytime someone would mention a state on David,
Oh, the show me
on
state.
the Letterman show, like someone would say, me and my fiance were driving through Montana, and he goes, "Oh, big sky country." Dave would always say,
Sure.
and I always thought that was funny that he knew the state nickname and the state motto.
That is very funny.
For
yeah.
every state, and he would just deploy them whenever a state is named. And he said at one point that he learned them just for that purpose of just saying it as a space filler in an interview, and also because he just thought that was a funny way to fill time, which is, imagine that, learning something to fill time as opposed to what people do on TikTok or Instagram, which is cutting the time out or just saying buzzwords and phrases.
Yeah, going back to the question, we have different
Yeah.
interpretations of this.
Yeah.
I think
Sure.
Tim's interpretation is something people inherently know. It's normal. And then
It's normal.
my interpretation, and I don't want to put words into your mouth, Brandon, but so you follow this up, but my interpretation of that is needless storage of memorization for the purpose of memorizing.
Yeah, I wouldn't necessarily say needless, but I would say like rote memorization, something like that.
Yeah.
For me is what it would be.
I think in video games, it's a bit of like a video game history thing, like remembering what years which installments of Final Fantasy came out or whatever.
Well, where I was going to go, and we've talked about this before, is how Wikipedia defines the numbered console generations.
Oh, that's a good one.
Mm-hmm.
That's a thing.
I was thinking similarly, maybe like the launch lineup of all the major consoles.
Oh yeah, being able to name all the launch games of the major consoles.
Yeah.
That's a pretty good one.
I like it.
I think whenever there's speculation about like a Nintendo Direct is coming up or whatever, and everyone is like quoting how many days it's been since the last one, and then what the average number of days between a Nintendo Direct is. I don't think it's exactly that, but I think that's a sort of
It's in the same trivial ballpark.
Yeah.
I don't know if this is in the same zone, but sometimes I think about, for example, all the consoles on which it was viable to release a game in 1994, because there's like a huge number of bizarre consoles you could have released a game for.
But that's just memorized. That's not like rote memorization. That's just like, historical recall, right?
Recall and thought
I
experiment.
think the actual answer here is if you can remember all of the characters in every Smash Bros. Game, like what the roster differences are across all of them, like, or not just that fighting games. I think that's it. It's like Street Fighter 2 only had 8 characters, but Street Fighter 2 Championship Edition had 12 characters. The bosses were playable. And then Super Street Fighter 2 added 4 new characters, DJ, Cammy, T-Hawk, and Fei Long. Right, and then knowing like which characters were added and subtracted in which Street Fighter game.
Mewtwo was in Super Smash Bros. Melee. They took him out for Brawl, and they brought him
in
back.
that situation. I just know that from like reading EGM. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But you take me past 2, and I've I couldn't name the characters in 3.
Yeah.
So this brings us even more in line. I could do all 6 Street Fighters off the top of my head.
Once we get to 5 and 6, I'm a little out of my depth.
See, if I can do it and y'all can't. And I said I can name all 50 states and their capitals, and you both said you can't. Maybe that's it.
Yeah.
I think having memorized the rosters of fighting games is the memorizing the state capitals of.
Tim, what's the state motto of Idaho?
I'm not gonna. I refuse to be tested.
All right, fair enough.
If you no, it's our roots run deep. Our potatoes is dry, yo. Is Idaho's state motto. I was going to give a fake one no matter what. I know the real state motto of Idaho.
Thank you. I was kind of hoping for a fake one.
It's Spuds Gold and True. That's the motto of Idaho. It's the state motto of Idaho is actually wipe off our dirt and see our golden spuds. Do you know what the state motto of Michigan is?
What?
If you seek a pleasant peninsula, look about you. That is actually the state motto of Michigan. So
weird.
They're all that good, and that's free entertainment. And I don't dance for free.
Frank, do you know Nevada's?
No, I don't know it. No.
You would assume it was Battleborn because that's on the flag, but
Right.
It's all for our country.
All for our country.
Yeah, I just looked it up because I was
that mean?
going to make a joke about what would be said when someone was like, I was driving through Las Vegas and then
Biggest littlest big city in the world.
That's Reno.
No, Reno's biggest little city in the world, Frank.
yeah, all for our country. It's like, I don't know, what's that? What's that mean?
All for our country.
Yeah, it's not.
Weird.
That's not as good. So there's state mottos, there's state nicknames. The state nicknames are sometimes better to employ from the hip. And then there's the Latin state mottos as well. There's like an official Latin language state motto for every state for whatever reason. And I know most of those, but there's no reason to know any of them. I don't go around speaking Latin to people.
Over here, we're trying to grow our state flower as a weed. Trying to just get poppies to take.
Oh, I thought your state flower was weed.
Nice.
No, weed is buds and leaves.
Yeah.
And stems and seeds.
Indeed.
Seldom flowers grow in that weed.
Seldom flowers. Poppies. It's heroin. Not
Yeah,
marijuana.
marijuana.
You want to do our lightning round?
Yeah, let's do a lightning round. Why not?
All right. We're doing name design this week. Name design is the game where I tell you the name of something, and
Oh my
devoid
God.
of any cultural context, you come up with what
It's going to
video
be State
game that would
Mottos
be.
edition.
Yeah.
No, this week we're doing Kentucky Derby winners. I've taken 10 horses that have won the Kentucky Derby,
Horses.
and we're going to make a video game about each of those names.
Can I just say, horses is nuts, dude.
Horses
Yeah.
is nuts.
Motorcycles made of meat.
You ever look at one of those in the eye? It's a big animal to look in the eyeball.
Hard to look at it in both
They
eyes.
have just complete contempt for
Yeah.
whoever's looking at this. Dude,
Yeah.
Are we deciding that, is it against the rules that any of these are actually about the horse?
Yeah, none of these should be about horses.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, good.
Our first game is Vagrant.
So in other words, none of these can be a modern AAA video game, which it's like a
'Cause they all have
requirement to have a
horses, yeah.
horse in a
Nice.
game.
Right.
Yeah.
Vagrant. This is a game about pushing boxes. Sometimes you use a sword, but mostly you push boxes. That's a Vagrant story joke because
Yeah, I assumed that would be the joke. Yes.
that's not what this game should be. Vagrant should be like a cool, masterless samurai type game where you go around and it's like a Yakuza Ishin type of a game where you go around and solve mysteries, but more gritty.
I think you're confusing the word vagrant for the brilliant manga
Vagabond.
a vagabond.
I'm not confusing it. I'm conflating it. But
Okay, yeah. Well, I mean, I like to say confusing because it covers conflating. Conflating can be used, it can be used incorrectly and interpreted incorrectly sometimes. So I avoid that word as a rule.
Our next one is Baden.
What?
Baden. BADEN-BADEN.
This is a made in Japan arcade game from 1982 with a maze.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's by Taito as well.
Yeah.
Macbeth 2.
Oh yeah,
that's a hot one.
yeah,
The hot
dude.
one. Revenge of Macbeth.
Is it from the makers of Sex 2, which is a video game?
On the PC 98.
Yeah, is that what it is?
I think Macbeth 2 is it's an NES licensed Capcom game. So like they licensed Macbeth and then they made Macbeth 2.
They licensed cartoon series that was being shopped around that they were told would enter production, but it never did. But they were stuck
that's
with
good.
the license, and it was like,
That's very good.
yeah, Macbeth in the future, right? Like time, like it's like James Bond Jr. but Macbeth.
Yeah.
God,
Yeah.
James
Yeah, I think
Bond
that's
Jr.
right.
I played the James Bond Jr. NES game on my stream a couple weeks ago.
Good music.
Lord, yeah. Well, it's got like the one song.
That's all I'll say about
That's
that
all it
game. It's
needs.
got good music, and my friend programmed it, and yet that's where I cut off my.
I'm guessing that Macbeth 2 is like a really, it's like a bad Castlevania like,
Yeah.
which there were a few of back then.
Next is Behave Yourself.
I think it's a DS game. It's like Operation in mechanics where you have to do certain things, but there's a lot of stuff you have to avoid with the stylus. So you're like trying to navigate a space through an office, but you can't accidentally brush against someone's butt or something.
I was thinking it's like my stop smoking coach or whatever. It's like a serious game for the DS to help you with your behavioral issues.
Your manners.
It's just a non-stop questionnaire that's like, your mom is smoking a cigarette and has fallen asleep. What do you do? Then A is take the cigarette and drop it on a pile of newspapers, right? And then
Put it in the oily rag pile.
throw it in the oily rag pile, stub it out in mom's eye, or, take it and
I'd play this
gently rest it on the edge of the ashtray. He's like at the very bottom of the list.
Oh, this is BioShock basically.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
Hoop Jr.
Hoop Jr.
Have either of you seen that Charles Barkley's Shut Up and Jam was licensed by Pico Interactive, but they don't have Barkley?
Yeah. So they
So
just
they
got
replaced him
with a generic face.
with a stock image.
With Mr. Dream.
And the guy's name is Hoops.
Okay.
Oh.
Very good. Hoops
Yeah.
Barkley.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
I think he might have actually taken the stock image off of Google image search and not entirely gotten rid of the watermark
Whoops.
It's pretty good. Yeah.
God, Hoop Jr.
Freaking Pico.
I think Hoop Jr. is like a Japanese knockoff of Air Bud.
I was thinking Hoop Jr. would be like DJ Boy. It would be like a beat 'em up with a basketball theme.
It's like Marco's Magic Football, but it's basketball.
Yes.
But you're a little dog. You're a little dog,
It's
though.
like Michael Jordan Chaos in the Windy City, but reasonable.
You're a little Yorkshire Terrier, though. That's my contribution.
Berkshire.
Dust Commander.
Dust Commando?
Dust Commander.
Commander.
That's like a Command and Conquer Dune style RTS.
Where the fog of war is dust, yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, didn't Eric Chahi make Dust Commander?
It's from Dust Commander that he made.
Oh, got it.
From dust.
All right. Foolish Pleasure.
Oh, I mean,
It's a visual novel. Come on.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
it
a
describes
novel,
a
right?
lot of other video games, but they would never describe themselves that way.
Yeah. Thunder Gulch.
That's a shooter.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And there's valleys in it. And you just keep getting deeper and deeper into the earth as you go. Each stage is deeper into the earth.
Ooh, I like that.
It's like Section Z. Yeah.
Mine That Bird.
Mine.
Mine That Bird.
Like MINE. Wow.
Yes.
Interesting.
No, don't
It's,
do that.
Yeah, don't
Leave
do
the
that.
bird alone.
It's Mr. Driller, but the goal is to get birds. Get
Okay.
birds.
Oh, you're rescuing birds who were trapped.
In a
No,
mine.
you're trying to
Yeah.
drill
The
them
canary.
with your drill. You were trying to destroy them with your drill.
I was thinking hook a mine up to it and then send birds off to explode at people. But that's very sad.
No.
Maybe these are like Shadow of the Colossus sized birds that you're mining.
It takes place in an inverse world where canaries take humans down into mines and canaries live.
Birds are planes too, so
Yeah.
it could be like the first
Oh.
Metal Gear, and you're planting bombs and
Is mining birds just like hatching eggs? Is it just getting eggs?
Hatching and scratching, yeah.
Yeah, what is an egg but a bird mine?
What's inside the cube egg?
You're sitting on a bird mine, Jerry. All right. And our last one is last year's winner, Mystic Dan.
Dan.
Wow.
Well, it's the third game in the Spellcaster trilogy.
Yeah. Oh, I get
Does
it.
the spellcaster have a Dan
Very good.
in it?
No, but there's Mystic Defender, and then
Oh, no. I'm going to go. It's the sequel to Jalico's Biosenshi Dan on the Famicom.
yeah, all right.
Otherwise known as Bashi Bazook Morphoid
Oh.
Masher.
So it's like the Warhammer to Biosenshi Dan's Warhammer 40K
Sure, yeah. So
because
a
it's
sequel.
Mystic. It's Mystic Dan.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Because it's medieval fantasy in flavor.
Well, because the first
Right.
one was like sci-fi time travel.
Yeah,
So the second one is the same character.
it's the Warhammer 40K is
Yeah.
the original one. Yeah.
Well, I am giving the victory this episode to Tim Rogers for knowing all the state capitals. That's why you memorize the state capitals so you can win an episode of Insert Credit.
Without having to prove it. Yeah.
Yeah.
For all you know, I just made that up. Obviously, I didn't make that up. Why would I make that up?
All right.
I'll make something else up next time.
Does anyone have any quick recommendations?
We were talking about wanting to kind of cruise through old games earlier, and there are two new games that are like that. We've already talked about RZ and how for me it was just a fun like 4.5 hours. I just played through Euphoria 2, 4.5 hours, did everything, had a nice time. It was very easy and cruisy. And
Which game?
Euphoria 2 by Sunsoft.
Oh, yeah. I like that game.
It's almost comically easy. Like there's a point where you can buy a television with like the money you've earned, and it's like you can turn on hard mode with the television. I turned it on and I noticed no difference. I got to the final boss, and as the final boss battle starts, my battery runs out on my controller, and I was like, "Oh no, my character's stuck on the screen with the final boss." And got up, found a plug, like a wall plug for my Xbox One controller, USB-C to power, right? Walked behind the couch, plugged it in, draped it over the couch. My guy's just getting hit the whole time. Went back to the couch, plugged it in, beat the boss in like 10 seconds. Like, it's just like, and that's on hard mode.
That
so
owns.
it's just weirdly comically easy. But again, if you just want a 4, maybe 5 hours, if you like 100% it, just cruising game. That's what I look for in old games. But if you want to feel like you're playing a new game, technically, that's a good one.
Is this a new game, Euphoria 2?
Yeah.
I didn't know about this game at all. I just looked it up, and it looks like they just made a new Euphoria.
Yeah, they just made a new old Sunsoft game.
And then nobody played it at all.
Right, correct.
Because it
It's
has
chill as heck.
56 reviews on Steam. I'll check it out.
Got a neat little art style. It might have come out last year on like Switch. I don't remember, but it's like new, at least new to PC-ish. But yeah, that and RZ are nice little like $20-ish, 4-ish hour games. And I could use more of those. I like those.
Cool.
Make
Well, you
more
should
of
play
those.
Crow Crunchy, Frank.
Okay,
It's 5 hours, but
great.
you could probably handle it.
Yeah, let's
And I
go.
would just say, anybody who's got a mister, it's real fun to just put on an old NES game and turn on the cheats for infinite lives.
Do that right now with Moon Crystal. That is my that's my recommendation.
Moon
for
Crystal's cool as heck. You just turn on infinite lives, and it takes away 80% of what we realize now with the scientists' interest was egregious, ill-advised, superfluous difficulty.
Yeah, it was busy work for children, so it would take longer.
It removes about 80% of the busy work for children aspect. And if you can enjoy the mechanics and the feel of the game with infinite lives and infinite continues, you're fine. You can just kind of have a good time with most of the hard NES action games that are like stage based. And, Mister's just got all those cheats in there. So
I actually did not know about the cheats until this episode, and that has me a lot more interested in looking into this
it's
stuff.
got a
soon.
massive library of cheats for like every game. And there's Game Genie cheats and there's like raw cheats that just, affect the raw game. There's a whole lot of different types of cheats you can do. And it makes all the games pretty tasty.
That's
And I
cool.
still feel like a dude who beat a video game when I get through one. I don't feel like I had any help because they were just too hard. The games were just too hard, man.
It's true.
I beat Battletoads, dude, as a child. I beat it.
Yeah, I feel like we've done our time.
I'm actually now curious about Battletoads with infinite lives. Would I actually get through?
One way to find out.
That's a toss-up because it's actually like not fair.
The question there is, how bored can you get of dying? That's the actual question. Because we did a video, or I did a video on. There's no we here. I did a video on Kotaku.com where I played the game Getting Over It with Bennett Foddy. With Bennett Foddy, which was the original name of the video, playing Getting Over It with Bennett Foddy with Bennett Foddy. That title was copy edited despite being perfect.
Seems like a mistake.
And then a few weeks later, I had him back I made him play the Turbo Tunnel in Battletoads.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, this is good TV. This was good footy.
It took him hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of lives. And we had to start using save states. Like I had to sit with my hands on the keyboard save stating like every obstacle, which then made it even harder, which was very funny. It was good TV, I think.
Yeah.
Unlimited lives in Battletoads is not necessarily going to make the game any fun at all.
Yeah.
But try it out, I would say. Give it a
Yeah,
shot.
die a couple hundred times.
I don't know if I'm bored enough to find out if I'm bored enough.
Exactly. Well, if you're not bored enough to find out if you're bored enough, you are definitely too bored to die more than 4 times in the Turbo Tunnel, I would say. So,
Any more?
God darn Turbo Tunnel.
Yeah, I got one. If you enjoyed the show Physical 100, of which there are 2 seasons, and you wished that there were more, there is a Chinese show called We Never Stop, which has kind of airlifted the premise, but different games, spends more time with the players, and generally has an interesting vibe. It's also very funny in the way that it has constant ads for China Telecom and Sleemon mattresses, which they make the contestants perform. They make them perform the ads.
That's not good, mate.
Yeah, that's pretty ridiculous. But the show is pretty fun. You can watch it on YouTube or on iQIYI streaming platform where the subtitles are in a slightly better location. Unfortunately, the subtitles are all probably AI generated and not perfect. So that's a little rough. It helps if you understand the structure of the Chinese language and have watched some movies in Chinese before. It helps you to understand what they're actually saying. But sometimes it's perfect, and then sometimes it's real weird. However, the show, pretty fun. Oh, one other little warning is that they put these little sound effects on for effect sometimes to be like, oh, this is a difficult situation. And one that they like to use is a high-pitched like the sound after a concussive blast, kind of like the sound drops out and there's a high pitched squeal.
Oh, like a Call of Duty grenade sound?
Yep. So I have to
good.
hold my ears during those sequences. So be advised, but still a pretty fun show if you can handle it. So We Never Stop is the name.
Next time the topic of what accessibility features should be added to video games comes up, I'm going to repeat my recommendations that give me the option to turn off the weird eyeball effect where the screen gets desaturated when I'm about to die, making the game harder. And also, I don't want to hear those sounds, those high-pitched sounds when a grenade blows up.
No.
I don't have tinnitus in real life because of this grenade. I don't need to hear that. It actually is something of a migraine trigger for me.
It is,
so.
it is painful.
I don't like those. My recommendation is I, a couple years back, gave a recommendation of a TV show that resulted in my receiving dozens and dozens of messages as to whether I actually liked the TV show or was recommending it as a bit. I come to you again today to say season 2 of this TV show, AMC Plus's Interview with the Vampire, is airing on television, and it is the best show on TV. It's only 3 episodes into the second season. You can still redeem yourself and watch the first season now. Which I recommend unequivocally to anyone who likes anything sort of horror, romance, Anne Rice related vampire stuff. I would recommend that show a million, billion, quadrillion %. Wait until season 2 is over and then light up an AMC Plus free trial just to check it out, which you can do through Amazon Prime if you happen to have that. I've been watching the episodes as they come out, and it's just a phenomenally good TV show. Thank you.
All right. I have some recommendations. I would like to recommend the first season of Linda Carter's Wonder Woman. It's a fun, kitschy time. Don't watch anything after the first season, though. They shift the time period from the 1940s to the 1970s, and it all goes to garbage after that. But if you enjoyed this or any episode of Insert Credit, you could rate and review our show however you can and however you like and wherever you can. I would really appreciate that.
And as many times as you would like from newly created accounts.
Yeah, that would really help us as well. What would help us even more is if you supported us on patreon.com/insertcredit to pay me, pay Esper, to pay Frank, to pay Brandon. End of list. If you'd like to sponsor our show with an advertisement or personal message, it's real easy to do that. Just email show@insertcredit.com and I'll be in touch within a day to make a deal with you. You could also join our community at forums.insertcredit.com or find us on youtube.com/insertcreditshow. This episode is edited by Esper Quinn with original music by Kurt Feldman. I'm Alex Jaffe.
I'm Frank Cifaldi.
I'm Tim Rogers.
I'm Brandon Sheffield.
And if you seek a pleasant podcast, look about you.
Look about you, look around you. It's either look about you or look around you. I know the true answer, but I won't say because I like saying look about you.